Hello everyone, how we doing tonight?
Hello everyone, how we doing tonight?
Oh, I gotta fix that. That's just gonna be a... There. We might have gone into a loop there, just give it a minute, it'll calm down. Can you guys hear me okay? Fantastic. So it looks like we got a fair number of guys already here. So I see Paul the Piper, Guy SSS, Bona Piper, Sean the Hat Piper. Lots of Pipers tonight. That's fantastic. George Tiedemann, hello George. Yardism, how you doing Chad? Fragrant Offering Piper, CP Courtney, Krogs and Sprockets. Boy, lots of guys here. So I'm really happy to see that. Happy to see y'all. I think we're going to really have a lot of fun tonight. This is going to be, I think, an interesting show because I'm really looking forward to talking to Andrew, and we're going to get to that very soon. I'm going to wait about 10-15 minutes just to kind of let the crowd come in and settle down and all that. I got a little bit of housekeeping type stuff I want to do. I'll get to what I'm smoking in a minute, but most importantly, the libation tonight, it's the champagne of beers. Miller is the official beer of guys too lazy to pick their own six-pack, in case you were wondering. And I don't know if I ever showed this. I got this cool little, it's shaped like a Japanese plane, and it's actually a bottle opener. My wife bought this for me years ago. And it's just kind of cool to have it in a workshop. So, cheers everyone. And happy Friday. So, yes, living the high life, ZZ Pipe, absolutely. It's great to see you all. Durham Duke, Battle Creek Briar, Mark in Rhode Island. Hello, Mark. WV Grizzly. Fantastic turnout. Really happy to see that. So, well, MGD is good too there, Desert Pine Piper. So, yes, Bona Piper, I did take care of my Valentine's duties last night, and happy Valentine's Day to all of you. I hope you all had a good one. And if I saw something about Intentionally Singles Day, National Intentionally, so if you're celebrating that, happy whatever that is too. Good to see you guys. So let's see, I'm smoking, this is a Marksman Jumbo, and there's a reason I chose the Marksman tonight, other than it's just a fantastic pipe and I really enjoy it. And kind of a funny story, but what I am smoking, what I was planning on smoking, thinking about this earlier in the week, I wanted to have some of this, sorry, I can't get the camera thing right. This is Clan. This is Clan that was a gift of my good friend, Rick, who goes by Couch on YouTube and is hopefully going to be joining us as a video maker very soon. And this stuff has been wonderful. You can see there's very little of it left. It was an odd tobacco. It took me most of the pouch to actually get to understand it, but now that I understand it, I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to have to see if I can seek out some more Clan. Wisconsin Woodsman still has that cold. I had that for 3 weeks. I understand. Hope you're feeling better soon. So one thing that's a little bit different tonight, and you might have noticed, is I've recruited a couple of guys, and they were nice enough to agree to help us out, who are going to be doing some moderation in the comments. Now, for the most part, it shouldn't affect anyone, but if anybody gets out of line, they have the ability to handle that. And the reason I did that is there was some odd stuff going on in the comments of non-live stream videos, and I just was worried. I didn't want this to get messed up, especially not since we're having a guest in and all. So anyway, Bona Piper, Paul the Piper, and Yardism have all stepped forward and volunteered to do that. I really appreciate it, so thank you, and you guys should all thank them for their help with this. So the format tonight, let's get started with that. So we're going to do an interview, and you guys all know, you saw the thumbnail, that I'm going to be interviewing Pipeful, Andrew. And Andrew, I've known him for a couple of years now through YouTube and Instagram. He's a great guy. I think we're going to have a lot of fun talking to him, and he's got an interest in Marksman pipes, which is why I pulled this one out. And I think you're going to really enjoy the time speaking to him. But importantly, I want to make sure you understand that this is something I want to do going forward. This isn't just a one-time sort of special event, but I really would like to make this a regular thing. I've already booked somebody for not this week, but not the next Friday, but the Friday after that. I believe it's the 28th of February. And that is a couple, Kathy and Steve Ennis, who are very frequent commenters to my channel and may also be to your channels, or you probably see them in the comments quite often. And I'm really looking forward to that. These are the kind of folks I want to talk to, that I want to introduce everyone to. Sure, we're going to get the sort of stars of the YTPC. We'll get them on too. But this is really about all of you. So guys, if you're interested in this, please, I'd love to do one of these next week. I just haven't found anybody yet. If you want to do this, you'll see how simple it is when I talk to Andrew. Let me know, and I'll definitely have you on next week. It's a great opportunity also if you're just getting started with a YouTube channel. It'll get you some exposure. So if you're new, think about that. All right, so that's enough advertising. I think you all get the idea. So what is everybody smoking tonight? Hey, Sarge, good to see you. And Codger Jim. Cogs and Sprockets. Andrew, I don't think I can pronounce your last name, Andrew. Good to see you. Really fantastic. Hey, we got 100 guys here. That is fantastic. I'm amazed. That just shows you what a great guy Andrew is. He's a big draw. So what are you guys all smoking tonight, and or drinking? Everybody's saying hi to Sarge. NyQuil. Sorry, Wisconsin Woodsman. I feel for you. Hey there, 8ITA. Good to see you. Abby Cruz, half and half. Sounds good. Uncle John's having some nightcap. Bona Piper's having some plum cake. I hope you're not smoking outside there at -20. Man, these things move fast. Haunted Bookshop for Pungo Briar. I'm seeing some folks say hi to Ben if I haven't seen him come by yet, but hello, Ben. Way to go, Christian. Thanks, Dunny Cottage. I appreciate that. Let me know if you want to be on next week. I am slow? I'm too slow? What does that mean? I didn't quite get that. Is the feed lagging? Hey, Kirk, how are you doing, buddy? Oh, with my reading, yes, I am slow with that. And my cadence, yeah, I've got a very different cadence. I get snus and Diet Orange Soda. Sounds good, Carving Piper. I get tongue bite pretty easy, which is one of the reasons I stay away from Virginias a lot of the time. And I can control it. I just have to think about it. With Briar, I can puff away on it. With Burley, I can puff away on it. It doesn't bother me. Bearded Welshman, I'd love that. Yeah, let's get in touch after this. Send me an email. It's canerodpiper@gmail.com. So that would be great. We can talk to Bearded Welshman next week. And guys, this is going to be going on. So if you're interested, send me an email, canerodpiper@gmail.com, and I'll get you on the list. It's It's easy to schedule. Takes a half an hour. If you're already watching, that's okay, Jojo. Hey, Couch is here. Good to see you, Rick. I'm actually smoking some of the clan that you were kind enough to give me. I've rationed it out. Lunting Larry Higgins, good to see you. And Classical Pipes. Hey, Sarge, thanks for stopping in. Have a good night. Yay, the clan. Mr. Scripto, Byro Guru, good to see you. Jason. Well, I guess we can start to move towards our interview. And the way I'm going to do this, guys, is I'm gonna call. We'll put him on the phone, and you'll be able to hear him, and you'll be able to hear me. I'm just going to ask questions, and we'll have a conversation, and that's why I'm calling this. By the way, the thumbnail for this one was conversations on pipe smoking, but after I put that up, I realized conversations with pipe smokers makes a lot more sense. So that's what we'll be calling this. So it's just going to be a conversation with a pipe smoker. And as we get to the end of that, I will ask you guys if you have questions. So don't put the questions up while I'm interviewing them, because I'm just not going to be able to follow. But if you do have questions, please save them, and I will ask. And if you can put them in the comments, I'd be happy to ask. So let's go ahead and move on with that. Yeah, that's probably close enough. I think Andrew will probably be ready. So just give me a second here to move the microphone over. And you guys that, if you don't know Andrew or Pipeful, he was fairly active in the YTPC. I don't want to give too much of a time frame because I might be misremembering, but it seems like it's been about a year since I've seen a lot of videos from him. But he's very active on Instagram, and he's a collector of Marksman pipes, and that's how he and I first sort of got to know one another, is because we both have an appreciation for the Marksman. So I think that's definitely something that we're going to be talking about. All right, so we're a few minutes early, but we'll go ahead and give him a call, and I'm sure he will be ready. The ringing coming through okay?
Good evening, Mike.
Hello, Andrew. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, very well. And yourself?
I'm fantastic, and really glad that you could join us. I've been looking forward to this since we originally talked about it. I've been really excited about the chance to have you on. I just want to do a check and make sure that the folks out there can hear you. So, sounds good? Okay, fantastic. So we're all set. So, Andrew, I don't know if you were watching at the intro there, but I was explaining the format of this, which what I'm really trying to do is just have conversations with pipe smokers. It's that simple. So I hope you're relaxed. I don't know if you're having a pipe tonight.
I am indeed. I'm having a Marksman jumbo.
Marksman.
And I also have a little bit of clan in it.
Isn't that funny? Because that's what I've got a Marksman jumbo with clan in it as well. Yeah, I was thinking about doing this earlier in the week, as I mentioned, and I saw on Instagram earlier today that's exactly what Andrew was smoking. Great minds think alike. So yeah, we're just going to have a relaxing chat, and I guess where I'd like to start is just tell us about yourself. We'll get into pipe smoking later, but as much as you're comfortable, just give us the sort of the 5-minute version of your life story.
Well, I guess the side that is never seen on Instagram or YouTube. I have 3 daughters that I absolutely adore. They're my babies, even though they're all either getting ready to graduate high school and head into college, or graduate college. They're my life, and I'm blessed to have a wonderful wife that has truly been a soulmate and a help. And for work, I'm actually a firefighter and medic, and I work for 2 different counties in the state of Maryland. And that's where I spend most of my time.
Wow. So did you get into that through the firefighting, or were you a medic first, or how does that work out?
Well, I started out firefighting, and that was 15 years ago, and said, I'm never going to get on an ambulance. Well, it didn't take long to realize if I wanted to make a career, we run a whole lot more EMS calls than we do fire calls. So I started out and became an EMT, did that for about a year, and went right into taking my training to be a medic, and just haven't looked back. Been downhill ever since.
Hopefully down a happy hill. that is.
It is. I truly love what I do.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very fulfilling, and I can tell you, I've had the unfortunate luck to have to deal with lots of doctors and nurses, and quite a few EMTs in my days, and you always run into miserable doctors and miserable nurses, but I've never met an EMT that hasn't been just a happy guy that is very caring and willing to do whatever it takes to make you feel better. So they're unique people.
Well, I kind of question if they were really EMTs, because we could be quite miserable.
No, I'm serious. I've always found that they're just I don't know. I guess it's because you are dealing with people all the time, whereas it's more of a, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm just hypothesizing a little bit too much, but it just always seemed to me that they were kinder people to deal with.
Well, I appreciate that, and I truly do. I work with heroes. Some of the things that these folks have done, and that they do every day without thinking about themselves. I just admire them, and I appreciate them, and it makes me happy to go to work knowing that I get to work around a fine group of people.
Yeah, that's well said, and it must be a privilege, I'm sure. So I mentioned in the lead up that you were active on YouTube for a while, and you've also been very active on Instagram. And I'm just wondering, what was sort of the original attraction for you to do those things?
Well, I guess I really have to start out with just pipe smoking in general. I actually started pipe smoking the day I turned 18. That was something that I was looking forward to, was going and getting a pipe, and that was 1996. I went to a Kmart, which we don't even have around here anymore, and bought a Dr. Grabo Savoy and a pouch of Carter Hall, and I haven't looked back.
Wow. So let me ask, was there anyone in your life that was a pipe smoker, like a dad, a grandfather, or what was it that made you want to do that?
Honestly, I've been told that both of my grandfathers smoked a pipe. They both passed away long before I was even a glimmer in the eye. They also were cigarette smokers. The majority of my relatives would have been in the 50s, 60s, and into the 70s that smoked a pipe. They were all, of course, cigarette smokers back then. They would occasionally smoke pipes. So I really didn't have a dedicated person in the family that continually smoked pipes. However, in the time that I grew up, it was still an acceptable practice. I can remember as a kid going to the mall and seeing men walking around smoking a pipe in the store. You wouldn't dare think of doing anything like that in this state anymore. I've always been into history, and just through observing and seeing all the different people through history that have smoked a pipe, that piqued my interest. And I guess really, while my dad has never smoked pipes that I can ever remember him doing, he's always collected them. Mm-hmm. And what he collects are sculpted pipes, like George Washington, Hoover, Churchill, the different animal carvings, relief carvings. And I guess that's really kind of what caught my interest in taking up the pipe.
Yeah, so you were already familiar with them as objects, and it wasn't uncommon to see people smoking pipes at that time, so I guess that makes sense. Yeah, it's one of the things I have these dim memories of guys walking around smoking pipes, and now you see it, and it's like a big shock when when you see somebody walking down the street with a pipe. So times certainly have changed.
Oh, yeah. And I guess from there, I was really more of a seasonal pipe smoker. When I say that, generally in the spring, in the fall, in the wintertime, whenever the weather was cooler, I would really smoke my pipe a good bit. Mm-hmm. And I guess it was probably 2008 when I really picked up the pipe and never bothered putting it back down. Uh-huh. And that's when I got into YouTube and Instagram. And in that time, one of my all-time favorite blends is Morley's Best.
Yes.
Very, very similar to Haunted Bookshop. Mm-hmm. And of course, my kids by then were on YouTube and Instagram and all those other social medias, and I thought, well, let me see what this is. And I, of course, like so many, typed in pipe smoking, and who popped up but matches.
Right.
And I had an account, because when I was just getting into it, I was just watching, just lurking. And of course, I followed him and you and many others. And it was actually talking with John that got me motivated to actually start a channel. Mm-hmm. And because of his love for Haunted Bookshop and my love for Morley's Best, which happens to be named after Christopher Morley, who wrote Haunted Bookshop, when it came time to pick out a name, I kind of took liberties and used a book title that was written by Christopher Morley called Pipefuls, but that was F-U-L-S.
Right.
And I changed that a little bit, and then I just kind of jumped in feet first and haven't looked back since. I've kind of gotten away from making videos simply because most of the time when I made them, I was at work. And it got to the point where every time I'd turn the camera on to start making another one, I'd inevitably get a call. Hmm. And so I found Instagram and found how easy that was to just point and click. That I really got into that, and I really enjoyed a lot of the one-on-one conversations that you can have through Instagram, through their instant messenger.
Yeah, I think that's actually something that surprises a lot of people is how interactive Instagram actually is. Because it is, relatively quick way to just toss up a picture, but there's a lot of interaction that I have there, and I know you do as well. And by the way, we'll be putting links down below to both your YouTube channel and your Instagram feed, so I recommend folks go check that out. So you told us how you got started. You started off with a gray bow and Carter Hall, if I'm remembering right. How long was it before you started to add pipes to your collection and really start to branch out?
Well, I would say the first 10 years I started backwards.
Okay.
For about the first 10 years, I had about a half a dozen pipes, a couple different gray bows, a Marksman, some corn cobs, a Meerschaum.
Mm-hmm.
And I pretty much stuck with Carter Hall and Prince Albert, half and half, Velvet. And of course, some of my favorites, Boswell blend. And that's kind of what I did for the first 10 years. So really, I guess 2008, I really started getting into the Marksman. And that was, honestly, that was by accident. What had happened is when my dad would go and bid on lots of pipes, he would get them in and go through them and pull out the ones that he wanted. And then he would give me what was left, which is a pretty good deal for me.
Absolutely.
What ended up happening was a lot of them were your traditional shaped Marksman pipes. And I liked how they smoked. I really liked the looks of them. I had wanted some custom builds, but I was never willing to pay the prices for them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started getting some of the Marksmans that had that deeper phrasing and kind of that custom built type look, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to settle in with these because they're a great smoking pipe. They have a similar look. And at the time, I really didn't see many people collecting them. So there were a number of them to be had.
Right. And they have a really interesting history. I don't want to push you into giving a dissertation or anything, but it is interesting. I mean, Marksman was he was actually known for his figural pipes. Marks, was known for his figural pipes. And I don't remember the order, if that was before the more traditional pipes started or if he got into that later on. But would you mind talking about a little bit of that?
Sure. Marks actually had worked for William DeMuth, for the William DeMuth Company. Mm-hmm. And 34, at the age of 29, he left William DeMuth Company and started Marksman Pipes. And they lasted for about 20 years. Actually, I think it was 19 years. But he started out just with his standard Marksman pipes, the traditional shapes. And he was using Algerian briar. It was a less expensive briar. And he was making just a quality, affordable pipe. What actually made him famous, though, was the sculpted pipes. He made them. They had faces like Ronald Reagan was one of them, which I've never seen one of those, but I'd love to have one. He did a Marine, a sculpture of a Marine. He did several presidents. And he actually, when he did those, they weren't him actually carving them. He actually went out and had 4 or 5 other carvers that carved for him. And that's when he did, they were called the heirlooms. And that was like, you'll see the pipes, if you look at them, there'll be like a boot or fish, or there's a beautiful one. It was a pipe, and the bowl has a set of hands that wrap around it. Those are what really put him on the map and made him made Marksman what it is. And then, of course, he had a slew of different brands. But his big thing was just, from everything that I've read, and there's not a whole lot, but what I gather is he was a real innovator, and he really capitalized on marketing. And it's just, if you can find any of the old ads, he just had some beautiful ads, and of course he coined the slogan, "Relax with a Marksman."
Right.
He did that up until 53, I believe. And in that time frame, he also acquired Shalom Pipes, which is a company out of Israel. And I think they were also Alpha Pipes. He had purchased them. And then in 53, he merged in with Mastercraft. From Mastercraft, of course, they eventually were bought by U.S. Tobacco Company. U.S. Tobacco is in Copenhagen, Skull. They bought Mastercraft, and they bought Dr. Grayboe. And he continued working for U.S. Tobacco at that time as a salesperson and worked in marketing. So really, if you smoke a Grayboe or a Mastercraft, it's kind of like smoking a Marksman, because Mr. Marks had his hand involved in all aspects of it.
Wow. That is really cool. And, it's a shame. There's so much history from that era that I fear is just lost. I mean, we don't know a lot of the stories behind many of the pipes that were made at that time. But, that's a cool little piece of history that should be preserved.
I totally agree. And I think that, in a way, we are preserving it by making these videos, by putting our posts up on Instagram. It's a way that we can preserve it for years to come.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And also, we're documenting more recent pipe makers and things like that, so that we don't get into this situation down the road either. So that's a good point. Social media does have its benefits, I suppose.
Yes, it does.
Or you could write a book.
I'd love to. First, I'd have to learn how to write. I'm challenged with my next. Now, I have thought about trying to put something down about Marksman. There's just so little information out there.
Yeah.
There's one small article written on Pipepedia, and the majority of the other information I found was going back and looking at old blogs and seeing the chats back and forth and trying to just dig through that and see what information was there, and then deciphering whether it was good information or not.
Right. No, that's a lot of work, but it's great that you've done it so that we can get it archived and things like this. So that is really cool. So you've become a. Is it okay to say you're a collector of Marksman pipes?
Well, that's the nice way of saying it. My wife calls me a hoarder of Marksman pipes.
Well,
that's a.
I've always avoided the collector term. I worry about that, because that's when I personally would move into hoarding.
Yeah, I collect them, but not in the sense of just having them to look at. I smoke every pipe that I own except for one, and that was a little small vest pipe, one of the little round ones that you can turn the stem inwards and put it in your pocket. And it was new old stock when I bought it, and I just haven't brought myself to smoke it not because I was worried about keeping it pristine as much as it has that small oblong bowl, which doesn't make it practical to smoke. So that one just kind of sits there off to the side. But I'd say I'm between 60 and 70 Marksmans right now, and I enjoy each and every one of them.
That's incredible. Do you any other pipes? I mean, are you exclusively a Marksman guy, or are there other pipes that you like?
No, I as far as modern pipes go, Boswell's. I'm only about an hour and a half from Chambersburg, and so I consider them to be my tobacconists and my pipe makers. I've been buying from them for years, and I just, whether it's their tobaccos or their pipes, they've always been impressed, and they've always just treated me like family. My wife's actually threatened to leave me there a few times, and they said it was okay as long as I left at closing time.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
Then of course
good.
Yeah, I have some lops, some of the old cherry woods. I have about a half a dozen of those, and then of course probably a dozen or so corn cobs. I was actually lucky enough to get one of John Keller's custom cobs whenever he first started making the cobs.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of a treasure to have.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there's just a little mix of this and that.
Well, it sounds like a very nice collection, and it's really impressive that you do smoke them all. I know quite a few people that have 60 or 70 pipes, but they wind up smoking 10 or 12 of them, and I always thought that was a shame because they were built to smoke, and just to have the discipline to be sure to rotate through them all is it's a great thing.
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have a nice way to display them to where I actually, when I come into my room, I can see them all. So and I don't fall into that trap of out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
I see them, and I because of my work schedule and the way that I leave for several days at a time, I'll generally go and switch out a half a dozen pipes and take with me each time I leave. So it's a method.
Yeah, it works. That's great. Well, I think if it's okay with you, Andrew, I'm going to see if anybody online has any questions that they'd like to put up in the comments for you.
Oh, that'd be great.
So, folks, anyone holding on to a question for Andrew? I don't know how long of a delay there is, so there's a bit of an uncomfortable silence while we wait to see.
I'll just start talking some more. That'll get them going.
So CMA Sailor's asking for the time frame of the Marksman pipes again. So what years were they made?
From 1934 to 1953. It was in production for 19 years. That would make your oldest Marksman pipe be around 67. Or no, your newest Marksman pipe would be around 67. Your oldest Marksman pipe would probably be in the 80s. Yeah. So that's quite a long time for the briar to age. That's another reason that I enjoy the Marksman so much, because they've been smoked. Just being around, they've had time to season, and they're just quite enjoyable.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about estate pipes is that they've already been broken in, and when you get them that old, that briar is definitely well aged. So I understand that. So we got Well, first I'll just say Yardism is saying a video tour of those Marksmans would be nice, and that's true.
I'll work on that. I've been asked that a few times.
Yeah, I think it would make a great video. And we got two related questions here. Dallas Wynn is asking what's your favorite tobacco, and Cogs and Sprocket is asking if you still smoke Carter Hall.
I still smoke Carter Hall. I don't think that I'll stop smoking Carter Hall when they stop making it. Actually, I think I'll be good for a few years even after they stop making it. That's part of my cellar. My favorite tobacco. I don't have a favorite blend. I do have a favorite leaf, though, and that's burley. Mm-hmm. Anything that has burley in it, it was meant for me. I just actually got an order in from Sutton. I ordered 6 pounds because they had a sale. And the majority of those blends are all, they have burley in them. If they're not a burley forward, there's burley in them somewhere.
Okay, yeah. We would agree on many blends then. Let's see. Rob Charette is asking, what's your favorite Boswell blend?
My favorite Boswell blend? My. I would say Private Stock is my favorite. That's actually a vapor that they make. They're actually, I think it's been around for years. It really didn't have a name. They didn't name it until, of course, everything came out with the FDA. And it was a blend that they had been making for years. They just had to put a name to it to help make it traceable. But I would say that's the one that I've been smoking the most of as far as their blends are concerned. I actually have every blend that Boswell's makes. Mm. I have about a 4-ounce jar that I keep full. Since they're close enough that I can make a trip up to, I just only keep about 4 ounces of each of the blends and fill them up as needed.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you even enjoy the aromatics then?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
As far as aromatics go, I don't really smoke too many aromatics other than Boswell's. And to be quite honest with you, my wife and my daughters, they love the Boswell aromatics. And so since I smoke in the house, a lot of times I'll smoke those aromatics just because it's more pleasing to them. And with their aromatics, even though you do have that topping on them, generally, I would say the majority of them, you still get those good tobacco flavors, which you really don't get in a lot of other aromatic brands.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite of their aromatics?
I would say that my favorite would be Rum River.
Okay.
There again, when I first started smoking the pipe regularly, Boswell's Best was always a favorite. That's one that's more of has a heavy vanilla note to it. But again, you still get a lot of those good. You can taste the leaf. It's not just the vanillas that you're getting. You're getting the leaf.
I think it was Carving Piper is asking if you have a favorite pipe shape.
My favorite pipe shape, I would have to say, is the Levant. The Levant. I've collected just about every shape that you can find. It just seems like I've always gone back to the Levant. I like the size of them. I do have some that are larger and some that are smaller, but just you're probably like a group 3 or 4 Levant. That's my favorite.
Okay, yeah, it's a nice shape. And I see Classical Pipes just pointed out, and I saw Ghost Cobb earlier today talking about this as well. There's a a Boswell meetup that's going to be happening on April 25th. And I'm also going to try to make that if I can. Any chance you could maybe make an appearance? That's a Saturday.
I am going to write that down. I knew there was one coming up, but I wasn't sure of the date. You said April 25th?
April 25th, yeah. Yeah, it seems like it would be a lot of fun. I mean, there's an awful lot of us in, you know, within the 3 hour or so drive of Boswell, so would be pretty cool.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'll take that day off.
Fantastic. All right, so Andrew, I'm going to give you a final question, if you don't mind, because we're getting to the half-hour point here, and I want to let you get back to your evening. And this is I'm actually going to ask you two questions, and I'll warn you, there's a bit of a twist here. So
Okay.
can you tell us, and I'm really looking for your ideal here. What is your idea of the perfect smoking experience?
My. The perfect smoking experience. I would have to say it would be surrounded by friends. Yeah, I've actually thought of this question over the years. Who would I want to smoke with, or what would make the experience? But I think just being surrounded by friends, having a bowl full of burley, just sharing in that moment. I think that those are perfect experiences. I had the privilege of attending the Core Sutler Pipe Show in Richmond this past year, and I got to sit and smoke with many wonderful fellows and ladies as well, and that was a perfect experience. Just being in the moment, enjoying that time, everybody coming together because of the pipe, because of the leaf, and just sharing that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a great answer. You can't. That may be the best answer to that question. And the twist that I was going to do, and it actually doesn't quite work because your answer is so good. But I was going to ask you what the typical smoking experience is like, just to kind of compare and contrast those. But also, if you'd rather talk about this, is there such a thing as a bad pipe smoking experience?
Oh, well, I'll answer both of those questions. The first question, what's the typical smoking experience? For me, it's generally peaceful. It's generally in solitude. And really, at work, they've nicknamed me the Zen Master. Because when I have free time, I'll sit out on the apron of the station and I'll have a pipe or a cigar, and that really gives me time to just decompress and refocus my attention. And I jokingly say that's my yoga or that's my therapy. So they're peaceful moments. And as far as the second question, is there ever a bad experience? I don't know. I've never been able to be angry and smoking a pipe at the same time. So
right.
I don't know if you could have a bad experience.
That is it's an interesting phenomenon. Those two things seem incompatible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, this has been a real pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your story with all of us.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. I had, like yourself, I'd look forward to this since we had spoken about it. And I really am glad that I got to go first so that nobody set the bar. So now the only thing people can do is improve upon what I've done.
Absolutely. Well, you have set the bar, my friend. No question about it. But I hope what folks realize is that this was not a big deal, really. We're just having a chat, just like we would if we were, sitting together on the porch, smoking pipes. And I'm really hoping
Absolutely.
that we can do this with a lot of the guys out there that are just, watching the videos. So we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah.
But anyway, Andrew, thanks again, and you have a good night.
Thanks. And you too, Mike. Thank you. And folks, it's been good talking and interacting with you, and I hope to be able to see and do more of these. Take care now.
Fantastic. Have a good night. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I unfortunately... That's not very professional of me, is it? At some point, I'll have to get a second microphone or a switch box or something. I'll get it. We'll get there. But hope you enjoyed that. Feedback would be much appreciated if you want to get in touch with me through email again, kanerodpiper@gmail.com. And, I'd really love to get your feedback. And I want to apologize. The comments are very difficult for me to catch, especially when I'm talking to someone else. So that's why I wanted to keep all the questions to the end so that I could really focus in on those. So I look forward to watching the replay, because then I get to actually read the comments and see what you guys have all been talking about while it's been going on. Thank you, guys. I'm seeing some compliments, and yeah, definitely thank Andrew. He's the man. And like I said, I will be putting his information, both his YouTube channel and his Instagram feed, in the description later tonight. So go check him out. He's really a good guy. Great, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Again, I'm really looking for folks to step forward and take part in this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for all of us. So get in touch if you'd like to. So while I was talking to Andrew, I actually switched to a Rick Black Morta, and I'm having some Three Nuns in that now. The Clan was exceptionally good. It's a funny blend. I don't know how many of you guys have had the chance to try it, but boy, the first couple bowls of it, I was thinking, why would anyone smoke this? And then it started to really grow on me. Almost like, I hate to say this, but it was almost like my experience with Mixture 79 in a way. It just kind of became this thing that I wanted to smoke, and now it's almost gone, so that's kind of sad. Yeah, I do like the Three Nuns, but I think I actually favor this Three Nuns green. It's got extra perique in it, or it has perique in it. There's always been some disparity about whether or not Three Nuns had perique. But I like this. It's got an extra perique kick in it. It's really a very nice blend. I'm a guitar dude. Good to see you, Mark. White Knight by H&H, and Black House is fantastic. I'm not a big Latakia guy, but that's one of the blends that I really enjoy that does have Latakia in it. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. The Mortar was made by Rick Black. Glad you enjoyed it, Punko Bar. CMA Sailor has no idea what he's smoking because the label fell off. I've had that happen, and it's... I've also packed a pipe upstairs and come down here to the shop and lit it and not remembered what I put in the pipe. So, I think Fragrant Offering is asking if Rick is still making pipes. I haven't seen him on YouTube in a long time, but I believe he is on Instagram. And I think he's under the name of Sunbird or something like that. So I do think he's still making pipes. But yeah, haven't been in touch with him for quite a while. The workshop is coming along. Well, it's functional now. The corner that I showed you is what I've done so far. I had plans to sort of start moving all the way around the basement, and yeah, I've just been too busy. Yeah, Classical Pipes. Do you know what his name is on Instagram? It's Sunbird something. Validate Carter Hall. That's funny, Mark. Yeah. So anyway, the shop. I forget who asked about the shop. It's functional, and that's great. I mean, I'm really having a good time working over there in the area that I have finished. I'll get to the rest of it at some point. But it's easier to make videos here than over in the new corner. So this is where we're gonna be doing things for a while. Yeah, the weekend chats here. That's true, George. Lots of time, and it's not important, to be honest. As long as I can do my pipe work right now, I'm happy. I'm actually leaning on my woodworking bench, which is now cleared other than the stuff that I put on for this, so I can do my my woodworking. I'm a happy guy. I don't have to have every wall painted. How is that spark plug cookout Northwest? Yes, Sunbird 200. That's that's what Rick Black is going by on Instagram, and he pretty frequently posts pipes. And I believe he takes commissions as well. I actually commissioned this from him. There's just, this beer is one of the least inspiring beers you'll ever drink, but it's comforting. It's exactly what beer needs to be and nothing more. And that's why I like it. Great. Classical Pipes is going to be doing a review of Sparkplug tomorrow. I look forward to that. It certainly seems to have generated a lot of interest. I think someone's asking about probably the properties of Morta or the difference between Morta and Briar. And to be honest, I don't really know a lot about Morta. This is the only Morta pipe I own, and it smokes beautifully. It doesn't really smoke very different than my Briar pipes. One thing is that it does seem to heat up pretty easily, and it's fairly thick-walled. You can see that. Yet it seems to heat up more than a similarly thick-walled Briar. But it's a great pipe. I really enjoy it. Well, guys, we're coming up on an hour here, and I don't want to cut you short if anybody's got anything else they'd like to talk about, but I also don't want to drag this out longer than we need it to be. This was fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you had as much fun with this as I did. I really greatly enjoyed it. Let me once again thank Paul the Piper and Bona Piper and Yardism for helping with the moderating. Hopefully there wasn't any work for you to do it all, but I really appreciate you being there for me. So if all goes well, I'll hear from the Bearded Welshman, I think it was, who said he'd like to be on next week, and we'll do this next week with him. And definitely look forward to 2 weeks from tonight when it's going to be Kathy and Steve Ennis, which I think will be a lot of fun. I've gotten to know them a bit, just trading emails and stuff, and they're a really interesting couple, and I think they're going to have a great story to tell. So guys, with that, I'll call this to a close. You all have a good weekend ahead, and I'll see you all on Sunday. So take care.